Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2020 International Durastar Motorhome, we're going to be checking out the etrailer.com XHD Tow Bar. Before we kind of jump right in and get carried away talking about the tow bar and how it works and things like that, I figured it'd be beneficial just to kind of refresh yourselves and touch base on the main components that we're going to need to flat tow our Jeep down the road in the first place. There's going to be a total of 5 main parts. The first one's going to be the base plate, and that's going to provide us with a solid and reliable attachment point. That way we can hook our tow bar up to it. Tow bar is going to be the second component, and this is going to be the physical link that actually connects the front of your vehicle to the back of the motorhome. Third main component will be safety cables, and these are just there in the event of an unlikely disconnect. We're going to keep everything paired together. The fourth main part will be tow bar wiring, and this is going to transfer the lighting functions from the back of your coach to the back of your Jeep, keeping you safe and legal. You know, people around you know what's going on. And last but not least, the fifth main component will be a supplemental braking system. And what this is going to do is apply the brakes in your Jeep whenever you hit the brakes in your RV, helping to bring you to a more complete and predictable stop. But with that out of the way, let's talk about the tow bar. One of my favorite things about the eTrailer tow bars is the compatibility. So this particular one comes with the Roadmaster ends, and so it's going to work with Roadmaster base plates, but there's a lot of other adapters and tow bar packages, if you will, that allow you to pair up to other base plates. So if you have a Blue Ox base plate or other manufacturers, chances are really good, a setup like this can work with them. So that's pretty cool. One of the things that is really important to a lot of people, and it makes sense, is how well your vehicle is going to track behind the motorhome. Is it going to be responsive? Is it going to hold true whenever you're driving straight? And I feel like with this one, we should have pretty good luck with it here because it's a relatively long tow bar, and generally speaking, a little more distance between your Jeep or your towed vehicle and the motorhome, the better. And also this has 2 separate arms, and so these can kind of pivot and swing individually. So I feel like it might be a little more forgiving, especially the fact that this is a heavy duty one. So this is rated for 10,500 pounds. Overbuilt for a lot of applications, but it's never a bad thing because if you think about it, when you hit potholes and go over bumps and stuff like that, this is probably going to kind of take the abuse a little bit better and be able to kind of absorb some more of that shock. And that's going to make for a better ride whenever you're towing behind your motorhome. This is going to be a non-binding type tow bar, and regardless if you go with this tow bar or a different one, I always suggest getting a non-binding. So it's going to have these levers here, and if the arm gets in a bind, you can push on these and it'll release all that tension. Because a lot of times when you're driving, these will get locked into place, and then you go to disconnect and you might be on uneven ground or something, and you try to pull the pins out, or and everything's super tight. It's in a big bind, and with a binding type tow bar, it's a big pain. You got to get a special tool or get a hammer out and beat on it and stuff. It's not something you really want to mess with. So the non-binding feature, that's going to save you that time, that headache. You got what you need here. Push on the lever, releases the tension, and allows you to easily disconnect the way it should be. This is also going to come with a couple of things too. So you actually get your safety cables included, which is cool. It's one less thing you don't have to worry about picking up separately. That they're the proper weight capacity and the proper style. I will mention, in our case today, we had to use some extenders here because these did fall a little bit short, but that's partly due to the fact that we have this big high-low assembly going on here. They wanted a dual one so they could put a bike rack and other stuff in here, and so that really spaced things apart a lot. So that's why we have the adapters. So if that's something you run into where they fall a little bit short, this is a way you can solve that issue. This particular tow bar, it does have this rod right here, and that's there so you can take your electrical cable, kind of put it through there, and that keeps it up off the ground and out of harm's way. So if you need a tow bar wiring and you plan on picking some up, get the kind that's coiled like this. That way you can actually utilize this properly. If you end up getting a different tow bar that has the channels in it, you're going to want the straight type cable. So I just figured I'd mention that. Something that does kind of separate this tow bar from some of the others, which is pretty nice. There's actually a built-in drop or rise here in the shank. So they come in the drop position, which is by far the most common, and it sets it down a little ways. And the reason being is you want your tow bar to be level with your vehicle whenever you're flat towing it. So in our case, we've got a really big motorhome, so we still needed to use an additional drop, but you know, having this little bit to work with already, you know, eliminates the need for even a bigger drop. And that, you know, the bigger the drop, you put more stress on components and stuff. So it's kind of nice that there's a small one already built in. This could potentially, if your motorhome is smaller, could potentially save you or prevent you from having to get a high-low adapter. And, you know, if you're wondering what that is, it's this piece here. This one's kind of special. It has this other top piece on there for a bike rack or whatever, but you can get them with just normal setups like this. And it's super easy to figure out if you need one or not. And it's something that's pretty important, because if the tow bar is level the way it should, you're going to get better performance out of it. It's the right way to do things. And so to figure that out, all you're going to do is measure, pull your setup up close like this on flat ground, measure from the motorhome's hitch pin hole down to the ground, and then measure from your vehicle's base plate pin hole down to the ground. And you want that distance to be within 3 inches of each other. You know, the closer the better. So let's just say, for example, if the motorhome was 5 inches taller than our vehicle, a 4-inch drop would be the appropriate one, because then it would set them within only 1 inch and the tow bar would be level. Something pretty neat about this tow bar is you can actually keep it stored on the back of your motorhome. So once you have it all disconnected, what you can do, if I can manage to get the pin in here, what you can do is fold these like that and they drop right into place. I do like this. I feel like this one does have an advantage as far as storing goes over some of the other ones, because having independent arms, it makes it really easy to swing these in and lock them down. Some of the other ones, you know, you have to lift it completely up as a unit, get them in a small notch and tilt them. So a little more user-friendly here, but something I do recommend, probably not a bad idea if you are going to be storing this on your motorhome, would be to pick up a locking hitch pin. That way it'll be secured to the hitch and no one will be able to just pull the pin and clip out and take off with your new tow bar. There is one thing that I do want to mention. In order to get the tow bar to actually pair up with your base plate, you are going to have to grab the pins, which are these here. So those are separate. You can get them here at eTrailer. So not really a huge deal. It would be kind of cool if they came with it, but you know, it kind of is what it is. So there's the standard style pins, and then you can even opt for an upgrade, which are these. They have this big handle on it and makes it, I mean, super easy to see and grab. So a couple of options there, and you can get, you know, whichever ones you like the most. But other than that, you know, at the end of the day, it's a nice tow bar. It's heavy duty, has all the kind of must-have features, in my opinion. And then you get a couple extras, you know, like the drop and rise built in and everything else like that. So one you really can't go wrong with. And that'll finish up our look at of the etrailer.com XHD Tow Bar on our 2020 International Durastar Motorhome.